Hello everyone, welcome to the Tuesday edition of Take 5. I hope you had a blessed day so far. This week on Take 5, we are breaking down the message that I preached on Sunday. That message was entitled Waste or Worship. We can read in Matthew 26, Mark 14, and in John 12 the account of a woman named Mary. This was Lazarus' sister, and she came where Jesus was with them and bestowed upon him a very extravagant offering of gratitude and worship. The Bible tells us that she came in with this costly perfume, this spikenard, and brought it in and poured it on his head and on his feet and then wiped up the residue with her hair. The disciples scolded her and called it a waste. Jesus said, what she's done is beautiful. That's where we get the title waste or worship. Sadly, many times what the world and even the church sees as waste, God always sees as worship. As a matter of fact, I believe He wants our very best every time we worship Him, whether it be in a church service or whether it be in our lives from day to day as we serve Him. He wants our best. I call this selfless devotion, not selfish, but selfless devotion. And it will cost you, when you selflessly give yourself to Christ, it will cost you. You'll find it'll cost you materially, it'll cost you socially, it'll cost you criticism. Today, I just want to talk about one thing, and that is materially. When we talk about this costing us materially, we need to understand that material things represents our time, our resources, our careers, our finances, our possessions. All of these things represent material things. And it will cost you that if you give Christ your very best. Pure nard was a spice that was derived from the Himalayan mountains and brought down from the far north of India. It had to be imported into Israel at a very great cost. Now, I don't know where Mary got this 12-ounce jar of perfume. I don't know if it was a family heirloom or if she had worked very hard and saved money and finally bought this thing. All I know is that it was precious to her and she freely poured it on Jesus. Judas estimates that it was worth 300 denarii. Now that's the equivalent of 300 days' work. If you were to translate that into 2022 terms, take 300 days' work, 8-hour days at $15 an hour, that's $36,000. A year's wages, man, that sounds like such a waste to some people to give all of that to Christ. But Mary said it's not waste, it's worship. He deserves it all, every bit of it. However you want to add it up or figure it, Mary's action was extravagant and it was costly, but to her it was worth it because Christ had done so much for her. Judas and the disciples had some kind of pseudo-spirituality going on there. They were trying to be sensible, but there's no way to be sensible when it comes to giving God your all. Senses won't fit in there. It's by faith. It's right out of our heart, and that's why it can cost so much. When they scolded her, Jesus rebuked them and said, "Leave her alone. Why do you trouble her? She's done a beautiful thing to me. You've got the poor with you always. You can bless them anytime, but you don't always have me." Right there, he was addressing their use of time. They weren't willing to give that moment of time to him, knowing that his time was limited. You know, time's a commodity that we all have a limited supply of, and sadly, most folks would rather spend their time on everything but Christ. It seems like we have time to do everything but to worship Christ. He went on to say she's done what she could. She's done the best that she could. And that's all God wants. All He wants is our very, very, very best. Yours will be different from mine, and mine yours and someone else's, but that's all He wants is our very best. And when we give Him our very best, it's never waste, it's always worship, and it will always cost you something. Do this one thing as you give your best to Christ this week. Make sure that you do not measure what you can give to Him by your carnal reasoning, because your carnal reasoning will always recommend convenience. But if you give to Him and worship Him and honor Him out of your heart will always measure by extravagance and never convenience. I promise you, whatever you give up for Christ, whether it be time, resources, career, finances, possessions, whatever you choose to give up to give Him, to honor Him, it will not be waste. It will always be worship. Well, hey, I hope the rest of your day is great. I look forward to being with you right here tomorrow, Wednesday. I hope you have a great day. Until then, God bless you.